Hey, Jeff from Become More Compelling here. So every year, about twice a year, uh, myself and a buddy of mine who is also self-employed, we do this thing called an offsite. So we rent an Airbnb somewhere in the state, and we just take a couple of days and really think big picture about our businesses and our lives, and think about like, okay, are we doing the right things? Are the things that we're doing now going to give us the result we want later? And for our first offsite last year, what we did was this really interesting exercise by Debbie Millman. It's called the 10-year plan. And so what the 10-year plan is you think of where you want your life to be in 10 years. So we just kind of rolled around to a new decade at the time of this filming. So 2020, I don't know about you, but for me, 2010 to 2020 went really fast. So 10 years, it can be, a lot can happen in 10 years that can totally transform where you're at. So with a 10-year plan, what you do is you sit down and you write down narrative style of what does a day in your life look like? Are you living in the same city when you wake up? What kind of breakfast are you having? What does your work day look like? What kind of things are you doing? What kind of things are you not doing? Are you working out during the day? Do you have a personal trainer or a personal chef? That's part of my 10-year plan. And then what are you doing after work to unwind and relax? And really getting nitty-gritty, getting detailed over that 10-year plan. And kind of the magic sauce in this is a lot of us, especially if we're ambitious, like we have a tendency to want to keep a lot of options open. And with this 10-year plan, something that I thought was really interesting is you might have some things that are in this 10-year plan, but you might notice if you write it out, when you write it out, that some things are missing in this 10-year plan. So maybe there are certain elements that you're not doing. So a previous episode of these compelling convos, we talked about wanting versus deciding. So the difference is simply that a lot of people want things, you might want this, that, or the other, but until you decide that you're going to get it, it's just wanting. And that's okay. Wanting and deciding are two separate things. So as you write out your 10-year plan, you might notice that some things aren't there. So that should be an indicator to you, and it should tell you that, hey, you know what? Maybe this thing that I thought was so dear to me, maybe it's not that dear, and I can actually let it go, and that's going to be just fine. Because life is full of trade-offs. A lot of times you're not going in between like a clear good and bad, but you're like, okay, these two things aren't really great, but I'm going to pick one, or these two things are amazing, but I need to pick one and focus my energy and effort on one particular thing instead of being spread out across 2 or 3 or 4 different things. So a couple of good resources on the Debbie Millman 10-year plan. The Tim Ferriss Show, episode 214, the time step is 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 51 seconds. That's when they start talking about the 10-year plan. Definitely worth a listen. And another resource, now this is not affiliated with Debbie Millman in any way, but it is your10yearplan.com. And it's nice because it just gives you an overview of what the 10-year plan is, and it'll help you work through that. So my action step for you is just take a piece of paper, write out your 10-year plan. What does your day look like? What does your your morning, your work day, your after work? What is all of that? What city are you living in? What kind of job are you doing? What does your social life look like? That's a lot of what I do at Become More Compelling. So, how do your interactions with friends look like? What kind of opportunities could you possibly have in 10 years? The cool thing about the 10-year exercise to me is we can't really move towards something if we've never imagined it. So it's really hard to know what you want if you haven't really ever written it down. So it's a very good exercise in getting clear about what you want. And the next add-on to the 10-year plan that I think about is, okay, I've got my 10-year plan here. Here's what I want. Now ask yourself, how do I go about getting it? Like, how do I go about deciding, deciding that that's what I want, and what are the next steps? So it actually starts to illuminate a path for you to get closer to that thing that you want. So that's all I've got for today. If you want to either give me a topic suggestion or have a question answered on the video next time, send me an email at jeff@becomemorecompelling.com or hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, and that is at the Jeff Callahan with 2 L's. All right, that's all I got for today. Talk soon.